Hi there, today I'm going to be going through the new API request event that's available within the Marketo app in Zapier. So you'll notice if you go to the events, this is now available within the event dropdown. And to test out this API request functionality, we are going to be using the trigger a requestable campaign from the Marketo API docs. So if we click on this link, it'll take us here and we can see how to format the API request to trigger a requestable campaign. So once you set up your Marketo account in Zapier, you'll need to specify your API authentication credentials in order to do this. Once you set that up, then you have to set up the API request itself. So we see it's a post request. We have to specify the Smart Campaign ID, and then we have to specify the lead ID of the lead we want to go through the Smart Campaign. We don't need to override any tokens here, so I'll leave those out of my request. So we see it's a post request, and you'll notice that you need to put in your Marketo URL ahead of the URL that they give us in the docs. So we put in our Marketo URL, then the URL from the docs. We put in the Smart Campaign ID here. Then we have to set the content type to application JSON because it says it here. And then we paste in the body, which we get from here. I deleted the tokens part and I only want one lead to go through it. So that's why I deleted this second lead ID here. And you can see I pull in this lead ID from step number 3 here. So I created or updated a lead, and this lead I created or updated, I wanted to go through this requestable campaign. So I pull in that lead ID here. And then to make this API request to send this lead through that requestable Smart Campaign, all I have to do is click retest the action. The main advantage of this API request event in Marketo over using Python is that it saves one task. So before, if you were making API requests to Marketo using Python, you would have to make one request to get the bearer token. So you'd specify your client ID and your client secret, you get your bearer token. And then in a follow-up action, you'd have to make reference to this bearer token from step 5. And then everything else is the exact same. We put in our Marketo URL at the start, we put in the Smart Campaign ID, we pull in the lead ID from step number 3, and then we make the request. So the only advantage of using the API request event within the Marketo app is that it bundles these two API requests together. So instead of you needing to make one request to first get the token and then a second request to actually make your desired API request, you can just make your desired API request in this single action here in Zapier. So that's the advantage. It bundles these two into one single action in Zapier. And if you want to learn a bit more about the Marketo API, I'll put a link to this Marketo API Quick Start Guide in the YouTube description. So then you can follow this and get a thorough introduction to the Marketo API docs and how you can make your first requests using the Postman testing tool.